Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Ask Coach Marie. I'm Marie O'Neill, founder of Padma Life Coaching, and your host on this series. This is the place where you ask a question and I give my unique opinion as a life renewal coach, astrologer, and past life regression facilitator. And I am not a therapist, and I will never tell you what you must do. Each week on Friday, a new video is released with me answering 2 questions from the viewers. I'll also give additional insights on various topics such as consciousness, how the universe works, astrology, healing, and various other life renewal topics. So let's get started on the questions. Our first question comes from Emma, who is in Portland. Emma writes, "My sun sign is Aries. I've been told that I am impulsive and have a short attention span. Can you tell me more about this?" Thank you very much, Emma, for that question. Now, when we're talking about a sun sign, we're looking at the chart or one aspect of the chart, and that is just your sun sign. So if you are an Aries, Aries is, of course, one of the constellations in the sky, and it has particular traits, or it's a particular archetype. Aries is the first sign in the tropical zodiac. Therefore, it's considered one of the baby signs. And that doesn't mean that it's not important or that it's a baby. Not at all. What it means is that because it's the first sign, a lot of times it just doesn't have the experience that some of the later signs have, and it can actually act in an impulsive way. Remember, it's the first spark. It's before sound and, before the voice, before anything is manifested here on the earth plane. Aries is that ram. And so it is going to charge. But in addition to that, it is that sign that has the first impulse from the universe, from the divine. It's action oriented. And there has to be that first spark where ideas come from. Aries is ruled, or actually has affinity with the sign of Mars, the god of war. And you can, if you're familiar at all with the different astrological planets, then you will understand Mars and its significance. But if you're not, I'll give you just a little bit of information here. Mars is, of course, action-oriented also. And it is where you get your energy, with your drive, that initial drive that you get, and that ability to take action, that comes from your Mars planet. I called it a sign earlier. It's a planet. And it has affinity with Aries because Aries also is an initiator, and it likes to take charge, and it likes to just go for the gold or go for whatever it wants. A lot of times Aries does not necessarily think through things, but you'd have to look at other parts of the chart to get more of a flavor of your particular Aries, Emma. Now, in a particular type of astrology, esoteric astrology, Aries has affinity with Mercury. I know that's probably going to sound strange to you, Emma, or a lot of people who are listening to this, but the reason that Aries has affinity with Mercury in esoteric astrology is because Aries is unstoppable if it can think before it acts. Meaning, if you have that impulse, rather than just charging, it's better to actually think about it and see if you can think through what it is you're doing before you take action. A lot of the people who are on the front lines of war or front lines of any activity, a lot of these people have that Aries energy. I have to tell you just a little bit of an inside thing about me. When I want to get something done, and I've already planned it out. Now, mind you, I'm a Gemini, so I can think fast and move fast too. However, when I really want to get something done, I will call on my Aries friends when I've got physical things that I want to do, because they are so action oriented. They swoop in, get the project done, and they're gone or moved on to something else. So anyway, I hope that helps you out a little bit there. And I do get the short attention span because Aries is just so fast. It typically does not complete what it starts. Its purpose is to bring the ideas forth. That is its purpose. However, there are other parts of the chart, the astrological chart, that you would need to look at to get more information about your particular Aries, because everybody has Aries somewhere in their chart. It's not necessarily the sun sign. Which brings me to something I want to talk to you about this week, and that is sun sign astrology. Some of you, or most of you, I'm sure, have heard of sun sign astrology. You probably read your horoscope in the newspaper or in some of the magazines that you read, and that's fine. Now, with sun sign astrology, what it's doing, it's not necessarily looking at your sun sign. This is why sometimes when you read the horoscope, it may not fit you. What it's reading is the sign that is on the horizon, the eastern horizon, at the time of your birth. For example, your sun sign might be Aries, just like Emma's is, but the sign that was rising at the time of her birth could have been something else. Could have been Scorpio, or it could have been Gemini, or any of the other signs. This is important because when you're reading these columns, you really need to read it in terms of your rising sign. How do you find out what your rising sign is? Well, there are free astrological programs where you can input your birth date, the time and place of your birth. It's really important to have the time and place of birth. And the program will calculate it for you. There's one called, let's see, what is it? Astroseek.com. And it's SEEK, astroseek.com is one of the sites, but there's a few of them out there. You can also contact an astrologer and ask the astrologer to do a reading for you, or at least tell you what your ascendant is, because that's what it's called, the ascendant or rising sign. It's very important. And the reason that the actual reason that you can get a sun sign reading based on your ascendant is because, the astrologer is looking at what is going on in each of the houses. Now, there's houses in an astrology chart. What this means is the chart is a circle. So it's 360 degrees. Each house is a 30-degree section of that 360 degrees, that circle. And so each section represents a particular aspect or it has particular traits, particular characteristics. For example, the second house, which is about your values, your self-esteem, how you value money, how you value things, and how you value yourself. That's the second house. So if your ascendant or your rising sign has, when the chart is set up there with the rising sign, the astrologer is looking at the sky based on the rising sign being a particular sign, and where the other planets and signs are in the chart around that wheel. For example, if your rising sign is Scorpio, depending on the degree, but I won't get into that with you, that if your rising sign is Scorpio, then you might currently have, say, let's see, Jupiter, the planet Jupiter is in the sign of Taurus. So that planet might fall in your sixth house, or it might fall in your seventh house, but this is how it's done. So anyway, that's probably more than you wanted to know about sun sign astrology, but that's just a little bit of information on how it works. Now, let's go ahead and talk about our next question. So our next question is from Barbara in South Dakota. Barbara says, I've been thinking about becoming a coach, but I'm not sure if this is the right path. Do you have any suggestions concerning how to proceed? That's a very good question, Barbara. And I do have some questions, or actually some suggestions. But the first suggestion would be for you to really search yourself to find out why you want to do this. It's an honorable profession. I love being a coach. I'm just throwing out this question to you so that you can get more clearer on why you want to be a coach. The other thing is check with an astrologer to see if they can give you an astrology reading to talk about your career, the careers that may or may not work for you. The reason I say this is because coaches spend a lot of time working one-on-one with clients, and you do need helping them to resolve their issues or come up with solutions to their issues and walking them through implementing the solutions. You need to have good endurance. You need to have good listening skills. You need to be able to go the long haul with the client and stay encouraged and keep the client encouraged. Short of that, there's one of the other things that I would suggest you do is to get a coach yourself. This way you will learn more about the coaching process. And this is invaluable information. Another thing that I would suggest is checking with the International Coaching Federation. There's a lot of information on their website about coaching. The International Coaching Federation is the regulating body for coaches. And if you are a coach in the US or anywhere in the world for that matter, a lot of coaches are registered and certified and credentialed through the International Coaching Federation. That's the next place I would go. I wish you well on this journey, and I hope that you become a coach. Thanks for asking the question. All right. Now, if you would like to learn more about my journey and what I've had to work through my own drama and trauma, please read my book, And the Lotus Opened, a memoir. It's where I talk about my life in a particular way. I give insights as to, of course, the issues that I've had and also how I work through those issues. It wasn't easy, but I did manage to do that. Actually, I'm still working on my life just like everybody else is. Please read the book if you're interested in learning more about me. You can find it on any of the online bookstores, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Goodreads, Able Books, and there's a bunch of other bookstores online where it is on sale too. So, what's coming up? There is a virtual healing retreat, which I am hosting on Eventbrite. The retreat is happening October 18th and 19th. So if you're interested, please go to eventbrite.com, virtual healing retreat. But I'll go ahead and put a link in the description below so that it gives you a little bit, it makes it easier for you actually to access that page. And please send your questions to me at padmacoach@icloud.com. That's padmacoach@icloud.com. I look forward to answering your questions, and thank you for those of you who have tuned in today. I'll see you next week with another 2 questions from the viewers. Bye-bye.